Everyone, it's Sean from What Up, and welcome back to another video. We're going to talk some Wheel of Time news today. Now, there's some interesting things that happened in the last 8 or 9 days since my last news video, and it ranges from behind-the-scenes stuff that the Wheel of Time Twitter account is releasing all the way up to a new Wheel of Time book we're getting this fall, and some VFX work from a few different companies, including some work in the One Power that reveals some very interesting things about creative decisions that were made. Also, we're going to show a set photo that was shared by one of the cast members. I'll give a small spoiler warning before that's out, mainly because I'm going to do some speculation on what the set photo could be, and I'm going to ruin some plot points and character arcs, but you're completely safe to watch the video till we hit that point. Now, if you're new to the channel and you don't know what I do here, I cover Wheel of Time show news, so anything and everything to do with the Wheel of Time, that's what we do here, whether it be books or show. We talk about that stuff. So if you like Wheel of Time content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell because I put out a ton of interesting Wheel of Time content every week. Now, if Wheel of Time, isn't your jam all the time, and you like other fantasy, I do have a separate channel. I just started it not long ago. I'm going to cover everything over there from Vox Machina to The Witcher to C and Apple Plus to maybe some sci-fi stuff as well. You name it, I'm going to cover it over there. Anything geeky and fantasy or sci-fi related will happen on that channel. I'll do breakdowns, reviews, talk about things I like, mainly because right now Wheel of Time news is a little slow. I mean, Amazon's doing a much better job of holding things closer to the vest for Season 2 than they did for Season 1. There's been almost no leaks. So in the interim, I can still put out videos. They just won't be Wheel of Time related, and I'll do that on my separate channel. So if you like that sort of thing, link to my other channels down below in the description box. Go over there and subscribe. Because, I mean, let's face it. You're here because you like Wheel of Time. You're probably going to like other fantasy too. All right. So the first news we'll talk about is the Wheel of Time Twitter account recently released this particular video. It's about a minute long, and it's Alvaro Morte's behind the scenes where he gives you a tour of the White Tower. Essentially, it's just him walking through the sets for a little bit. He talks to Sophie, who plays the Amyrlin. You showcase a little bit of his scenes, which are the last lines he said for the first season. He's a little emotional, talks about his time as Logain, how he hopes fans like it, and then the video's over. Now, Rafe Judkins had mentioned a couple of times that we're looking at a very long wait between the end of Season 1 and the beginning of Season 2. I myself have heard a lot of rumors from some very credible people that say don't expect to see it until second quarter 2023. That's 18 months from the end of the first season. That's a long time. But Rafe Judkins, the showrunner, has said that they're going to release little tidbits in between to keep the fans engaged and happy. I think this is what we're going to see. Now, of course, this video was filmed well over a year ago, and they were filming episode 5 and 6. So we're probably going to see more behind-the-scenes stuff, more little tidbits they filmed, maybe deleted scenes. I think we're going to see every few weeks or maybe every month or so the Wheel of Time Twitter account release a couple of things like this. So, just like before the show aired, if you don't have a Twitter account, I do implore you to get one because the Wheel of Time interacts with the fandom almost exclusively through Twitter. That's where you're going to see the set photos. That's where you're going to see castings. That's where you're going to see behind-the-scenes stuff, videos, things like that. They release that there, and then sometimes on Instagram and pretty much nowhere else. But they do interact with us there. So if you get a Twitter account, make sure you follow the Wheel of Time and follow myself as well, if for no other reason for Wheel of Time content. All right, next thing I want to talk about is a new Wheel of Time book. Yes, I did mention that earlier. It's coming out November 8th this year from Tor. Now, I've left a link down below in the description box to Amazon. Now, Amazon's where you can order this. I already got my pre-order in for it. I'm not affiliated in any way. I don't get any money for you ordering it. You guys don't get a discount for ordering it. But I ordered it, so if you folks want to do it too, you can. It's by Michael Livingston. Now, he has written a book called The Origins of the Wheel of Time, The Legends and Mythologies That Inspired Robert Jordan. Now, it's all of the stuff that inspired all of the cultures and different things that went on in the Wheel of Time series. It's supposed to be a pretty interesting read. There's also a reimagined, redrawn map. There is a deleted scene from The Eye of the World and a foreword by Harriet. That's Robert Jordans Widow. So it should be a pretty interesting Wheel of Time book. And if nothing else, if you're a fan of Wheel of Time, it's something new. And we all like to gobble up new Wheel of Time stuff. So I, of course, have pre-ordered it. I'm going to read it, review it for the channel, of course, after I get it. And then it'll join the rest of my Wheel of Time books up there on the shelf behind me when I make my videos. I'm really excited for this one, though. All right. Proof Inc. is a visual effects company that did a lot of work for the Wheel of Time, and they recently released a Previz reel. If you don't know what Previz is, it's essentially the stuff they block out prior to doing any real VFX work. It's about 2.5 minutes long or so. I left a link to it down below in the description box. It's on Facebook, though, so if you don't have a Facebook account, I don't know if you can watch it or not. I have no idea how that works. But it's pretty interesting. The graphics in this Previz reel run everything from, sort of polished and kind of done, all the way down to PlayStation 1 graphics. Looks like you're watching a cutscene from Final Fantasy VII. But they use this to block out shots. They use this to figure out what they're going to do, what things work, all kinds of different stuff like that. And it's really interesting to see. Now, it's changed a fair bit from what we see in the final, not just in the way it looks, but in some cases, the way the scenes are shot and the way the scenes run. But it is a really cool look at the progress behind what it takes to make VFX for the show. Anyway, check it out if you'd like. Next thing I want to mention is Cinesite. They put out an article called A Case Study of the Wheel of Time, and they did some 600 VFX shots for the first season, mostly involving the One Power. Now, what's really interesting about this particular article, and I've left a link to it down below if you would like to read it, is the fact that they mention the fact that the One Power being white in the show is a completely artistic choice. That was a choice that was made, and they went with that. And they showcased what the One Power originally looked like when they worked on it. And I'm not going to lie to you. I like the original way better than what we saw in the show, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Now, I know that way back when we got teasers and trailers and posters and things like that, we all kind of imagined we saw different colors in the weaves. We thought we were seeing red and blue and green and things like that. We could tell what the weaves were, and we thought we'd see that on the screen. When the show released, of course, every single weave was white. They were all the same. They all looked the same except for the taint or the corruption on the male half, the true source. And it didn't look bad. I'm not going to lie to you. It wasn't terrible. But I speculated at the time during my review videos that maybe the fact they didn't use color was because it would look jumbled or kind of like a rainbow threw up on the screen later on when you have dozens or hundreds of channelers on the screen all doing the same thing at once when they're fighting and stuff, which does happen later on in the book series, and I assume we'll see it in the show as well. But then, watching the show, I think it'll look just as jumbled or just as confusing if it was all white weaves. So I was kind of trying to wrap my head around this until I seen these things. These are gorgeous. They're elegant. They're understated. They're beautiful. I love them. I imagine fluorescent red and orange and green and blue and purple, and I thought it would really pop on the screen. But this is just, like I said, very understated. The fire here is a little red, the earth a little green, water just a smidge blue, the air, there's little elements of yellow and different things in there. Spirit is like an eggshell off color. And you have the combined, all the woven elements together, which is more white. Water and air, they're wrapping around each other. Then you have your spirit, fire, earth, and air. All of these look absolutely gorgeous. And I'm thinking to myself, they would have looked way better on screen, especially when it was one channeler, but it would look no worse if there was dozens of channelers on the screen than just all white. So why would they do this? Why would the artistic decision be made to keep it all white? Well, I thought about it for a bit, and the only thing I could settle on was money. I mean, it wouldn't look better. It probably wouldn't look any worse, but if Maureen's throwing a fireball on the screen, you'd have to weave fire and air. You'd have to weave it like this. It would cost more money to wrap that second strand around there rather than just showing a white strand where the fire is going to be. So I think it all came down to money. The VFX to do something like this was probably far more expensive than to do just white. It's my guess anyway. Again, I don't know a whole lot about these things, and I have no information on it. So let me know what you guys think down below in the description box, or in the comments rather. Do you think it was a money thing? Do you think these look better than the white weaves they use in the show? Which would you rather see? And personally, I'd rather see these if we get more money for VFX the second, third, fourth season. I think these would look a lot better, personally. All right, now we're going to get into the spoiler portion of the show where I'm going to show one image. This image is going to be a set photo shared by Josha Sardowski. The image itself doesn't spoil anything, but my speculation will. So, spoiler warning. This next image, I'm going to speculate on where it comes from and what they're filming there. So we'll talk about elements of The Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, and The Dragon Reborn. That's the first 3 books of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series. If you haven't read these books, be forewarned, I'm going to ruin minor plot points and character arcs from all 3 of them. All right, so this is the photo that Josha Sardowski shared on his Instagram. It's pretty neat. Now, a couple caveats here. We have no idea when it was taken. We really don't. We know it's Wheel of Time because he said, you know, it's what, when. I do recognize this particular set or this particular area from a couple of other set pictures I've seen over the last couple of months. They're not really public yet. No, they haven't been shared around, but this is definitely somewhere they filmed before, earlier. Now, there's been a couple of guesses online what this could be, and I like some of them and I don't like some of them. Now, it all boils down to when they took this particular photo. Right now, they're filming Block 4, so that's episodes 7 and 8 of Season 2. Rafe Judkins has said that they are combining elements of Book 2 and 3 together, so we know we're probably getting Fall, May, and Tyr, or some combination thereof, for the end of the 2nd season. So this could be Fall, May, perhaps where he fights Lord Turok. That is a pretty good guess, I think. This could be Tyr or the Stone of Tyr, where he takes Kalendor. That is, again, another really good guess, I think. Someone else had mentioned that it could be Kyrian, Lord Barthane's Manor. Absolutely, it could be. It just depends on when this photo was taken. If it was taken months ago, 100%. If it was taken last week, Probably not, because you got to remember they are filming the end of season 2 right now. So let me know what you folks think down below in the description box. What do you think this photo is? So which scene do you think they're filming for this? Now remember, we have no idea what direction they're taking season 2. We really don't. We don't know much of anything. And in fact, most of our guesses and thoughts for season 1 were completely wrong because of the sheer volume of changes. They added a lot in, they cut a lot out, they changed a lot of things. So even saying Fall May or the Stone and Tear, maybe they don't do them at all. Maybe they're skipping them. We don't know. Let me know your best guesses down below in the comments. I really want to hear what you folks think about this one. All right, now we're going to talk about 2 more things. The first one is the Wheel of Time fan edit project. Now, this particular Twitter account, if you want to follow them, they started editing the full first season of the Wheel of Time into a movie. Now, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't watched the full thing yet, but expect a review from me at some point over the coming weeks or months because it is really good. They've cut basically a lot of stuff out. Now, obviously, they couldn't add things in, and one of the major complaints I had about the first season is they needed more time. They needed to add a bunch more stuff in. However, the particular cuts that are made for this, some of them seem to make a ton of sense because it just doesn't progress the rate of the story. And this is all based on their perception of how things should be. So again, if you want to check this out, I've left a link to the YouTube channel down below where there's a couple snippets of what they've done. And you can follow the follow the Twitter account here, Watt Fan Edit. And they're releasing stuff on Reddit and Twitter, as well as on their YouTube channel. It's pretty neat anyway. Either way, it kind of reminds me of when the Dusty Wheel edited the Winter Dragon and they started cutting and moving things around. It does make things flow just a little better, and I thought it was a really unique take on it. I really liked it. All right, the last thing I want to end on here is this photo of Madeline Madden and Donald Finn, who's playing Matt Cawthon for season 2. Of course, we know Barney Harris exited the production at the end of episode 6 and didn't come back to film 7 or 8, but no one really knows why. There's been rampant speculation as to why. A bunch of articles with people claiming they know exactly why without offering any proof. I myself have heard a ton of different rumors, some of them contradicting each other. No one truly knows why he left the production, but we do know that Matt was recast for season 2, and this gentleman here on the right is playing Matt. So, kind of a neat way to end it. It shows that the cast are getting out and around with each other, and they are currently together filming. So, yeah, kind of exciting either way. I'm excited for season 2, even if it is going to be over a year away, which is mind-boggling, but it's entirely likely. So I would call it to you folks here. If you work on the show, around the show, with a third-party company, anyone else at all that works anywhere near the show, I love leaks. I love talking about the show. I like hearing things. I like getting information. I protect all my sources. Of course, we've heard almost nothing about season 2 because Amazon and Sony are playing everything very close to the vest, and they're doing a much, much better job plugging leaks for season 2 than they did for season 1. Like, way better. We knew lots about season 1 before it came out. We know nothing about season 2. Like, literally nothing. It's crazy. So, if you know anything at all, I have an email in the description box of my channel. My Instagram, my Twitter DMs are open. Send me a message there. Even if you just want to chat about the show, that's absolutely cool as well. All right. Thank you so very much for sticking with me here to the very end. Here's to many more.